Welcome to Out of the Noise. I'm Priestess Lilly, a medium, channeler, sacred heart healer, and space holder. My purpose is to create content that will help humanity rise in the consciousness through connection. I do this by facilitating courageous conversations that will lead you truly activated alongside heart-centered leaders, my guides, wisdom keepers, and divine humans who are wishing for us collectively to expand into our authenticity and soul purpose. So together, cosmically, we can strive to really assist a higher level of consciousness and help each other on our own spiritual pathways. So this week's Energyscope is for the week ahead of September the 10th to the 17th. There was so much information coming through. September is an Earth month where there's a magical surprise is going to happen on Earth, and the energy is also we can get shit done. The energy coming into Earth, I have noticed it as such a profound shifting in consciousness. First, before I start talking about this week, I just want to reflect on our week that we have just had here in New Zealand. And I have been saying over collective weeks and collective podcasts and videos that, there's still some more political explosions to happen. But reflecting especially on this past week, many of New Zealanders felt the collective energy stirring by certain comments that our PM said, which leads us to feel as a sense of gaslighting. This was consciously many people out of those comments spiritually awakened, which is brilliant, which is a phenomenal. And now as we step into next week, we're greeted by a new wave of energy, the energy of the new moon. And during this time, we're going to start to see conversations in the Western world that will evolve around health, blood and antibodies, and a certain V, starting with C. Please be aware that the information that is coming forward from official lines of media may not seem clear. So it is really crucial this next coming weeks, collectively, energetically, to trust your intuition and not be overcome by the noise. The 14th of September is actually the new moon, and it's a pause for deeper reflection. In September, this is a powerful call for peace that's going to resonate within yourself, wanting peace, but also as a collective consciousness. This month is really about harnessing harmony, serenity, in a much broader scale. And you're going to start to feel that activation starting to come through in the next, coming days, coming weeks, as we start to feel our nervous systems again starting to take flight. In a much broader scale, we really need to start fostering unity and understanding people. And, we're really starting to see that by the significant shifts, especially in this country, by some conversations that are happening, by, many platforms that have come out with documentaries. So we're really starting to see this wanting to refoster our community in a different aspect, and really open our hearts and minds, and embracing the call for peace towards a greater sense of compassion and empathy that will not only have a ripple effect in the world, but will actually start to harmonize ourselves and also the world. There is so much going on this week, and because we're building up to a climax, basically. The new moon presents us as an opportunity to really reflect our own spiritual growth. What have we really learned in the past 3 years? What are we really willing to let go of? What are we really willing to commit to? How are we really willing to change? And I know that here in New Zealand, oh, the energy is so intense. I know that here in New Zealand, that willing to change, that willing to take ownership, that willing to be the light and hold the light and anchor the light is I want to say a movement that is really starting, people are really starting to want change on a bigger aspect. And we're going to start to see that reflect in our political parties and I just want to say movement and change and movement in a light in the light. Everything's coming into the light. I also want to talk about today, because Spirit was really clear as I was channeling this through, about the 7 layers of illusion, because this is going to become, some of it's already clear, but it's going to become even more clearer. Okay, the unveiling of the path of our own 7 layers illusion that is in the collective, but is also the 7 layers, of self-discovery within self, is really what we are journeying through right now. And it's a self-discovery for inner enlightenment. It's a symbol of us needing to light the layers of misunderstanding and false perceptions that have kept us in the contained, contracted, in the box, and we haven't been able to grasp reality. And with every veil that is currently lifting, because they are lifting, and this is why we're all at different stages of our own internal awakening, and this is why the collective all can't awaken at once. Within this collective unveiling, we each go through a milestone, and there's a deeper sense of coexisting. The first veil is the veil of ignorance. And the veil of ignorance is when you're unaware, when you have a profound natural reality and you really aren't aware of there's that sense of being ignorant and not taking responsibility. And I'm sure many people over the last 3 and 4 years have, some people are still ignorant, some people are still very, and that's the set mindset of not wanting to be aware and bring and step into full awareness. But in order for us to find interconnectedness in life and everything, at some point our ignorance needs to change to, we need to start harnessing the vibration of compassion. The next veil is attachment. And, attachment has very much been something that, like, spiritually, we have been unpacking for quite some time. Our attachments to our desires, attachments to our physical beliefs, our attachments to our physical belongings, our relationships, outcomes that often lead us, without even realizing, to when we attach to something and not willing to let it go, it actually stops our own personal growth and stops energy flowing around us. And this is all, and it stops us actually expanding our energy into finding abundance and joy and moving into 5D consciousness. The veil of the ego. I think many of us right now are in the death of the ego. I think we are, it's the ego of what we identify with. I know that for myself, this was a massive conversation for me in 2022 2021, 2022, with obviously my catering company, Miss Lily's, that was my identity. And what was I going to be without, that community identity? When we have the death of the ego, this is our labels, this is our structures, this is our individual roles. This also, ego fosters separation from others. This is what they are currently gaslighting us with around race, around gender, around ideology, around jibby jabbed, unjibby jabbed. And when we are in our ego, well, I've done something right and you've done something wrong, and I have more privilege than you and you don't have any privilege, and we can't see each other. When we separate ourselves, we actually separate ourselves from people. We separate it, we close down our heart. We separate ourselves from our own consciousness and our own physical growth. And this fosters judgment. And this is such a distorted perception of actually the reality of what we're needing to co-create here on Mother Earth. Number 4. We all know this one very well. The illusion of control. Whew, don't even know what I have to say here. But the illusion of, oh God, Spirit's just like next level. For those that can't see me, that are listening to the podcast, lots of people need to hear this because my ears are going and I've got goosebumps. Goosebumps are truth bumps. Just saying, people. The illusion of control. It is a belief that is, we're conditioned with as soon as we're born. The mastery and the trick is, how do we master our external world so it doesn't actually control us? That we feel we're discerning and we're discerning and learning and teaching and growing. And when we are not listening to ourselves at a higher level and a higher knowing, control obviously leads us to, when we're trying to control things, or internally in our world, or we feel controlled, it leads us to frustration and disappointment. It leads us to not feeling good enough. It leads us to holding on to things so tightly that then we can't see outside of the illusion. I think that's all I want to say about that. The veil of time. There's so many separate timelines happening right now on Earth, and time is an illusion. It is, when we think about time, we like there's not enough time. We automatically are putting restrictions on our lives, and our lives aren't in flow. And time is, past memories, future, past, present, and future in the present moment, the capacity. But time is also, when we put ourselves into time, linear time, it restricts our own soul growth. It restricts our own expansion. It restricts our ability to trust. It restricts our ability to step into our higher self. It it causes anxiety and overwhelm and dissatisfaction. And, if we woke up, this morning I woke up and I had a bit of overwhelm because I've got a big to-do list to do, and automatically there's not enough time. Well, once I let go of that feeling of there's not enough time and let go of overwhelm and changed it to, I'm going to co-create, let go of it, let go of that need to control, let go of that feeling of overwhelm, released it, things started to flow again. Things started to come in. The universe started to deliver. Energy started to shift around me. Things started to move collectively. So I just want to say that the illusion of time, and it's like many spiritual people for generations, there's a law called divine timing. And divine timing is divine timing. Things will come in divine timing when we're meant to know them, when it's meant to come into fruition, when we're meant to step through. The veil of duality. This is all about thinking. Light and dark, law and effect. It is really about what we see the world through the lens of opposites and division. It is a belief of good and evil, right and wrong, judgment and categorization is actually what I want to say. Oh, someone needs to hear this. And duality contracts us. It hinders our own spiritual growth, and it hinders our ability to be interconnected in unity. That basically is the fundamental right of why we're here in humanity right now, is for higher consciousness, connection, unity, and bringing in the light, bringing in the light, bringing in the light, anchoring the light on Mother Earth. And unfortunately, the dark agenda, the powers that be, have been able to master this manipulation and this illusion for generations. They're still mastering it now. And we as the human species haven't evolved fast enough to actually see it. And I do believe we are going to see it, because these veils of illusions are lifting very quickly, very fast, and they're disintegrating right now. The veil of the Mayan. This is a cosmic illusion that separates us from the ultimate reality, the cosmic universe, the stars, the planet, the energy, Mother Earth, the plants, everything that holds truth and a vibration that holds us within the cycle of birth and death. And we very much, as a collective consciousness and Mother Earth, we're always cycling through birth and death. But we are cycling through, as a collective consciousness, a whole individual way of being on Earth. And we are rebirthing a different version, a more consciously awakened version of the collective, a more consciously awakened version of ourselves individually. And this is a veil that is continually in cycle. It is continually moving and flowing, but it is really right now going at our at such vibrational shifting pivotal points. When we learn to master these veils, we actually and see them and feel them. And this is what we're doing right now. We're seeing them and feeling them on multi-layers and multi-facets. This is when we start to gain our own spiritual insight, our wisdom. We get more of a clearer perception of our own reality. We start to commit more to trusting our heart and leading from our heart. We hold less fear in our bodies. We want to have different conversations. We seek more information. We seek people. We go and connect with like-minded people. And so, I see these veils as an invitation to very much embody more of your truth. So that being said, September the 15th and 16th, Mercury moves direct, making a mark on the 6 retrogrades, people. 6 retrogrades. This is a powerful time for us to use our voice. You want to be heard, use your voice. Communication and expressing your thoughts, and your heart-centered thoughts. During this time, we are going to see a much more bigger focus about conversation regarding leadership and politics. I'm a little bit over politics at the moment, but anyway, it's just where we're at. And then, the 18th, 19th, we're really going to start to see another climax of spiritual consciousness that takes center stage, really inviting us and our connection into spiritual aspects of our life. So when I say that, what do I mean? We'll receive more downloads. We'll feel more wisdom. We'll trust our knowing differently. We'll start to notice our own spiritual growth. These shifts this month, like for the whole month ahead as a collective consciousness, are friggin' big. They're bloody big. This is a karmic cleansing, sister, a karmic cleansing of Earth. And we've got to remember to stay grounded, trust our instincts, engage in meaningful conversations. This week ahead is all about growth, reflections, and spiritual awakening. So I just want to say that. So enjoy it. But I'm actually using a different deck today. I'm going to use Kyle Gray. You can buy them on my website, The Keepers of the Light. The angels were a bit chatty this morning, so it's the angel deck. So I'm going to ask them channel through what needs to come through for this week for higher knowing. All the thick. They're going to jump. Just give me a wee minute while I just. Here we go. Oh, two of them. Ha! I mean, hashtag you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. Okay. The first card, Saint Jeremiah, karmic releasing. Move beyond the drama. Create your own path. Make room for good energy. My third eye goes off with this card. So I think there's going to be a lot of people intuitively, their third eyes are going to come actively online is what I'm being told to say. And I feel like we are karmically cleansing. I mean, that's what this month's called, karmic releasing. We are karmically cleansing not only the collective energy, but also Mother Earth, or, collective energy, but also Mother Earth was the energy that came through. And as I say that, I got water, and water is very cleansing of, water cleanses us, water cleanses and purifies. So there might be some conversations around water or bodies of water or, water as a whole. And I want to say, really get clear with what you're wanting to release, what you're no longer wanting to hold on to, what you're wanting to feel more into. Saint Jeremiah is actually probably quite strong if you want to connect to somebody around needing to clear things out of your life, or in finishing of cycles. Finishing of cycles is the card I got for that. And I feel like right now, I'm actually just going to say this. There's a lot of spirit. There's a lot collectively here in New Zealand. There's a lot right now of finishing cycles. And then the next card, because hashtag you can't make this shit up, is Lady Nada, Heart Awakening. Awaken to the acceptance of divine love, give and receive in balance. This comes with a real peace energy. I just have to say this. I actually want to cry with this card. So I do think at some stage this week ahead, there might be some tears that we are going to cry for humanity is what's coming through for me when I speak and say that. And, I've always said, and I've been saying this for quite some time, we at times need a conscious shock to come back into our heart center, to strip us back of actually what really matters in the world versus what we're being told. And it's many a times before I said, do you really get when someone's sitting there needing something, are you, with the whole jibby jab passport, I would consciously say, are you going to care whether they're jibby jabbed or not when it's a person? And I think that's what we've actually forgotten in our own. Yeah, I just see tears. I see tears for humanity this week. I just have to say that. I just want to cry. But I think it needs to happen because it's the water. Oh, interesting. It's the water, it's the spiritual cleanse. But it's going to activate us more in our heart center in order for us to rise in unity. And I think in some capacity that actually needs to happen. I don't think this is New Zealand. I'm just going to say this. I do not think this is New Zealand. I think this is in the northern hemisphere. I get north. I don't think it's North Island. I get northern hemisphere. Yeah, I get north. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Have a fabulous week. Embrace the journey, and may your hearts be filled with insight and awareness. Like and share also if you like this, and follow Priestess Lilly.